Now, we've all felt the frustration of golf at times, but I think all of us would agree that without the game, we'd be lost. That was a scenario that faced James Gribble after an accident left him a quadriplegic several years ago. But through sheer determination and power of will, James is not only back playing golf, but trying to introduce others to the game as well.
Look, I had a pretty simple accident really. I went for a long run and later that night I felt a bit dehydrated and thought I'd put my head down for a second, and literally before I knew it I'd passed out and fallen back off the stool that I was on and broke my neck, resulting in quadriplegia. So a pretty simple accident, as most of them are, with pretty dire circumstances. For me, I thought when someone said you're going to be a quadriplegic, I thought that was someone who drove around with their chin in a power chair, and evidently that's not the case with some of the developments in science and rehab and medicine and just sometimes a bit of luck. A lot of people recover a little bit more than that sort of pretty dire circumstance of being literally no movement from your head down. And I was certainly lucky across all those areas to have a great support network and get some recovery, but also do a lot of work rehab-wise to get myself in a bit better position. When you're lying there with no movement from your neck down, the world's pretty grim, and you get told to forget anything, walking, riding bikes, even sometimes feeding yourself. It should be just literally taken off the table. But I guess for me that was probably one of the biggest drivers, to start proving people wrong from day one, and that's what's probably led me, led a lot of my recovery and led a lot of my sort of personal headspace along my journey really. Early on, I wasn't a golfer. I had a godfather of mine actually invited me out for a game of golf, and really that day I didn't play too badly for someone who hadn't played so much, and I was pretty much hooked. I think most golfers have that moment where they go from just, oh, it's something I do or I've done for recreation, to being totally obsessed. I always thought I'd get back into golf. It probably sounds a bit obscure to think that when you've been told that you might not be able to feed yourself again. As my body recovered, tried to work out with the range of movement and the little bit of walking I could do and the range of my arms, how I could facilitate being back on the golf course and generating some sort of swing to move the ball an inch, let alone metres or even more. I have the frustrations that everyone does. Probably one of the key things is really that you have to accept that you're not going to be able to hit the ball 300 metres anymore. You're swinging with one arm with no feeling from your chest down and pretty much no movement in your hand. The fact that I'm playing with one arm and being driven around the course by a buggy is irrelevant. The Paragolf is just a revolutionary bit of machinery that tries to replicate anything and everything you can do on a golf course for someone who's lacking mobility, and that can be anyone from a spinal cord injured person where they've got no movement in their legs or from their chest down, all the way through to a stroke sufferer who might have a little bit less mobility issues but still needs a bit of support. That's what the Paragolfer does. It takes you on the greens, it gets you in and out of most of the bunkers, decent sized hills. For people in wheelchairs, just the stand-up feature is also critical from a medical side of things. Things like standing up at the bar to get your drink, or talking to people, or even hugging loved ones, which for a lot of people in wheelchairs just can't happen anymore. So there's some key softer sides as well as the medical and physical side. The golf clubs bring a sense of community that really no other sport has.
We got involved with it primarily because of our close tie-in with Sargood. There's a Sargood rehabilitation facility being built only a few blocks from here. We have a very close affiliation with Sargood, and in fact through our association with Sargood we're fundraising to purchase a Paragolfer. We'll be working with James to acquire a Paragolfer, and we're looking forward to being able to use that.
So for the clubs out there, you can get involved by introducing disabled initiatives of your own. You can call your local rehab centres or hospitals, schools, retirement homes, and just get people engaged in your community that is a golf course. Golf provides unbelievable physical and mental health benefits for people, not disabled people, but golfers in general. But specifically for disabled people, things like depression or diabetes or weight gain, which are massive threats, can be annihilated or at least minimised in some respects. 20% of the country, so almost 4 million people, are disabled, and only 2,000 or 3,000 of those are actually physically playing golf. There should be a lot more disabled golfers participating and enjoying golf. If you're a disabled person, that you just come and try it. And if you're a golfer out there, tell someone that you know that might be disabled or in a wheelchair that golf is actually an option for them. And If you see someone out on the course who's trying and is disabled, encourage and be trying to get behind what they're doing, because golf is literally a life changer for people with disabilities. For all the pros out there who are looking to give more lessons, disabled people need coaching as well. So whether you want to volunteer or start actually giving lessons, paid lessons, that's great. And for businesses out there who want to support the initiative, you can either look at sponsoring tournaments, sponsoring days, or even donating to Empower Golf. Empower Golf has a number of key goals. Firstly, we want to provide a valid and sustainable rehabilitation and recreation option for people with disabilities. We want to establish a network of golf clubs which provide access and support for disabled golfers. And we really want to provide a pathway to try, improve and then compete in golf, and that will happen through development days, coaching and then tournaments. We aim to promote and facilitate golf for all abilities, and really our main aim is to give golf. So give golf back to those who have lost it and give golf to those who maybe never experienced the pleasure of playing it before. So finally, we just want to contribute to building the profile and the infrastructure of the disabled game and facilitate the game getting into the Paralympics at some stage in the future.
And a story like that certainly puts those 3 putts into perspective. If you'd like to know more about Empower Golf, either because you know someone with a disability or you'd just like to help, head to the organisation's website at empowergolf.com.au.